in all the work that I do, and in my entire practice, the way I live my life, I think of creativity and violence as opposites. That every violent act I can think of relies or is embedded in a value system that already exists and seeks to control on some level. And creativity is the opposite of that.
They met on Thursdays because it was on a Thursday that they'd first met 3 years ago, at that time of year when the city is at its most bearable, when the smell of wild hyacinth can't be outdone by the stench of the gutters, because it's after the city's short winter, which manages, despite its brevity, to birth more funerals than any other time of year. In the city's spring, 2 men walking the long road from Shantiniketan back to Kolkata because the bus has broken and no one is interested in its repair, are not entirely oblivious to the smells abounding in the wildflower fields, not oblivious at all to their own smells.
Serious business, serious music for serious times. Just 2 voices and a guitar. From Central Park to Madison Square Garden, London, Germany, and Paris. Our songs embrace the earth. Kissed by New Age music, surrendering to the Yidaki's healing sound. Didgeridoo is a misnomer, like jigaboo. African rhythms took me on the journey. Kungas, Shikare, Mini Bata, Mali to Memphis, Benin to Brooklyn, deep South African banjo strum. My music teacher told me it's the music that keeps us young. Music is my essence.
I tell myself on the regular, let go of that ancestral baggage. While I'm so proud, I came from the fabric rooted in my grandparents' migration from the South for auto factory jobs in Detroit and domestic work in the suburbs of Detroit. I sometimes still imagine tiny little whispers murmuring, ain't what you got good enough?
One day,
Papi drove me to school like he always does, talking about my homework, science, history, and math. He made a funny face when I told him all I had to add. Lots of kids were in front of the building and others were being dropped off. I turned to Papi to ask him, "Will you pick me up after school?" And before I knew it, 4 cops came running toward him. I heard a commotion, looked to my right and screamed, "Papi, Papi!" I saw my Papi go down on the ground, tackled and shackled and hands cuffed behind his back. I could not see Papi's face. The cop with his knee on Papi's back smashed it into the pavement as he grabbed a fistful of Papi's hair. All I could see were Papi's jeans and his construction boots. I screamed. The world started to sweep from beneath my feet and buildings started to tumble, and I nearly had an asthma attack from my constant screams. One cop, a woman with the word ICE on her back, pulled me by my waist as I flailed and kicked in desperation. Students, parents, and some teachers crowded around as the officers held me to the ground while my Papi was pushed into a police van. La migra, someone yelled. Others laughed with their fat fish faces, taunting me with alien and illegal and get out and go back to your country. I shouted, "This is my country, you stupid doofus heads!" Before I knew it, a crowd of white kids surrounded me, but other kids, black and brown and some white, came to my rescue. Somehow, though, I was the one who was taken to the principal's office. 2. Now the school was split in half. A group of kids wore Make America Great Again hats just to taunt us. But others, black, brown, and white kids, were down with us and not racism. In all my 9 years on the planet, I never had a fight, but a handful of kids wanted to start trouble. One day they scrunched up their faces and balled up their fists. We stepped forward in unison. We took off our jackets and our sweaters and dropped them to the ground. Then we stuck out our chests real proud so they could see our t-shirts that read, "I am not an alien. I am not illegal. Why Don't You Go Back to Your Country" is not my favorite song. "Get Out" is not my name. No more borders. No more walls. 3. The bullies backed down that day and moved on to their classrooms. The next day, the Make America Great Again hats had disappeared. Instead, some kids asked, "Where can I get the cool t-shirts?" We didn't get any more glares or stares. One of the boys who bullied me even came up to me and said, "My mom's a lawyer. She can help your dad." And as we walked to our class, he turned to me. "Guess what?" I said, "What?" "I'm just like you." I gave him the side eye and answered back, "A girl?" He laughed and I laughed, and then he said, "My father's from Croatia." 4. That would make the perfect ending for a movie, but this is real life, and they took my Papi away. And once again, the world was swept from under my feet, and Mommy's, she has to find a new job to help take care of us and help get Papi back. One day, my Papi drove me to school, a day I'll never forget. I get sad and scared when I think about where Papi is. I keep his photo in the gold locket he gave me last Christmas. I keep it pressed tight and close to my heart.
He supposed he'd fetishized Sharma's smell from the beginning. That scent of a day's honest work, the smell of steel, of the cheapest soap, the smell of a shirt that had been laundered beyond its time, the smell of his night-bound stubble. He allowed his hand to linger on Sharma's wrist, pretending he was trying to see the hour, an hour before sunset, an hour after. He didn't remember exactly when they parted. What did it matter? What mattered were the coincidences of love. The day he saw Sharma for the second time, he counted among the small miracles of his life. Sharma was drinking tea at the tea stall on Kakulia Lane. He was leaning the weight of his body on the rotting wood of the counter, listening to the chai wala recount stories. Later, he would learn that Sharma had landed a job at a nearby foundry and that this tea stall was simply the closest one. But in that moment, he didn't think of foundries or work or any other encumbrance. He thought instead of the way Sharma cradled his earthen teacup, as if it were the Kohinoor. Oh, he'd said, did you and I, that broken bus, what an evening, yes? A question that led to Thursdays. 2 years of Thursdays haunted by fear of discovery, which led to a wedding because a married man who arrived regularly at Kakulia Lane couldn't be doing anything but playing backgammon with his happenstance friend. What followed was a year of bliss. He considered this time their honeymoon. They were as seriously committed as any partners who'd ever shared a covenant, and shouldn't that show?
I remember you worked 3 jobs, 2 that should have gone to men. When you gave your baby back, some of the light went out of you, though you had a seer's eye, seeing auras around plants and babies, talking about times 20 years from now. It must have been a struggle to be around regular folks. You took those nobody wants you children, enduring bites, tantrum kicks, to get one word of understanding, of knowingness out of them.
Difference and otherness are reflected in the word dirt, which Gertrude Stein used frequently in Tender Buttons. Recognize that Stein was dealing with the culturally unacceptable same-sex love for Alice Toklas, which created their otherness. Also recognize that dirt is not just the state of uncleanliness. From dirt comes objects that we eat, which make a table fuller. For me, Dirt and Not Copper is a poem situated in the kitchen. And for me, there is a certain life-affirming music created in the kitchen. You, dear audience, can hear it when the blender switches on, when we imagine how chickens sound before they are slaughtered for our dinners, when we pass through the beads in a rural town that keeps the flies out of our soup.
The Bangladeshi man walks slowly, so slowly. I know he is ill. He shuffles a broom about the laundromat, then sits in front of the largest dryer. Then a Latina comes in frantic, pointing at the flyer posted on the laundromat's window. What happened? She asks. The attendant says she died. But when? How? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, he says. He knows only this. Dead. 2 weeks. The memorial is for later in the day in a place far from Halsey. The flyer's crisp image of a black woman's face, smiling, young looking, but she was not young. 2 weeks. La Senora shakes her head, her purple-streaked hair tamed by her sadness. She always said hello. She was always smiling. She says this to me. I nod and try to smile with her memory.
Show.
She looks
When I, in awesome wonder, consider all the worlds, this sacred geometry.
I get drunk and drop a glass, one of the pretty crystal ones, onto the dining room table, our meal getting cold while you wipe off slivers from wet oak with a congeal of paper towels. It's you who lays claim to a problem, and after tonight, you're not drinking anymore except on weekends. I've heard that before. Earlier, Monsanto was on TV again. They've been messing up another town, carelessly spilling chemicals over more than well-set tables, and the rug, clam sauce, its flavor gone. Well, what else is new? Our dogs have decided to hide under our leggy couch, and I don't blame them for lying low. Dogs can sense earthquakes, tornadoes, toxic spills long after we can. I should have stopped after the first glass, I say, as if this were deeply insightful, as if it were your fault not stopping me. No telling what we're both exposed to here.
A sentence is a system. Sunlight outlines. There is so much lightning in the body. A cloud is a bribe, sometimes a fault. In this world, everything rots. When I clap, I can't stop. My lust for prisms, each hue a song. So thanks again to everyone for listening.